to hear these local voices as well, saying things that will surprise you.
Like, what was that one line that when you saw on screen you were talking about?
I can say one now on YouTube.
Just say. Yeah. This is a line for your character.
Yeah, what? How does it go exactly? It goes, I gotta shit your mouth hole.
Shit in your mouth.
I'm gonna shit your mouth hole.
Yeah, shit in your mouth hole. Exactly. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news and some new TV shows, all with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
So today is another one of those special episodes.
Yeah.
Be good if you can turn on your video because we have some very special people in front of us now.
Yes.
They worked with us on a new show that is out. It's called Zombie Safari. It's a 6-episode dark comedy animated series.
Yeah.
That we will talk about. But with us, we have one of the co-executive producers, Mark Wee, who is also from Finding Pictures, the animation studio that we worked with, who worked with us to make the magic that you see on screen, and also helped us write the scripts and tell the story. And we have the lead actor, Jun Vinh. Jun Vinh. Actor, Jun Vinh.
One of those.
Yeah.
Good to have you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming all the way down. Like I think for you had to actually find your own way down to Singapore.
Yeah.
Malaysia.
It wasn't easy following the trails of the ancestors. But I made it. I'm here.
No, but you are quite familiar with Singapore. Like you've acted here and done a lot of gigs here and things like that, right?
Yeah. More recently, more. It's been quite a blast.
And you hail from?
Malaysia. You know that country?
Wow.
Malaysia. And Mark, you are from?
Singapore.
Like one of the biggest breaks for your company was, and correct me if I'm wrong if it's a big break or not, but was when Finding Pictures did the animation behind one of the most popular NDP song music videos of recent years.
Yes.
The road ahead.
The road ahead.
2021.
Yeah.
2021.
So for those who don't remember, I remember it was basically your animated scenes were sort of superimposed on Singapore, like structures and sights and sounds. For example, like the Golden Mile buildings.
Yes.
You made it like stadium seats with people sitting on it and all. Yep. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
And how many views does it have now on YouTube?
Last we checked was 4+ mil or something like that.
Wow. Your check every day. Like how many
last
views?
we checked was like 2 hours ago. Is it?
No.
4+ mil.
4 mil.
So everyone in Singapore has watched it twice, essentially. So
it hasn't even reached the population.
Jun, don't come across as an ignorant Malaysian. Our population is 5.7 million.
Okay. That's good.
You thought we were 2.4 million, is it?
I'm clearly here as an expert on country's population. That's what I'm here for.
The last time we came was 1990 something.
I'm a bit backdated.
Backdated.
Yeah.
So like before we go into this show, like how long have you been into animation?
Ever since poly, just kind of like thrusted into the path, Yeah.
How?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Jun Vinh, but in Singapore, after O levels, you got to do the whole streaming, right? You go to JC, Poly, and naturally JC was my choice, and I couldn't get my grades in there. Then go Poly, and I think back then that was 2004, 2005. That was when Singapore was just starting with the whole media plan, setting up the Mediopolis and all that. And animation was a massive thing. So I foolishly put that in without knowing what animation was.
Oh, so you didn't have any experience
I didn't know anything about animation.
Also, but that was like the era in Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 and all that were very big hits and all that, right?
And it was all like, everything was like grouped together, like animation and games is like multimedia. Yeah, so that was like the way of thinking back then. So I thought, hey, games sounds cool. I like to play games.
You play games. Okay.
So I just applied and just got in and haven't been able to get out of it since.
So that was when you were like 18, 19.
17. 17.
Dang, I'm very sorry to hear that.
I know. I'm very sorry to say that.
No, but okay. I mean, you start off like, you just put it on application form. And then years later, suddenly, National Day song, you guys are doing animation for that. Did it feel like? Did you envision yourself ever working on stuff like the NDP video and all?
No, but for many years, my parents didn't know what I did. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
As in they didn't understand lah.
Yeah,
Not that
they
you
didn't
kept it a
understand.
secret lah.
Not that I kept it a secret.
Okay.
I think, if you say, oh, I'm doing chemical engineering, they're like, yes, you play with chemicals, right? If you say that I'm a lawyer or what, okay, they get it. But when you say I'm like making an animation, most of the time they're like, yes, you're a designer.
But you had like animated films to show them before?
Yeah, but like, the process behind it, I think even right now, not many people really know what goes behind into producing animation.
Yeah.
So that's like you got to tell them, like, when people ask me, like, what do you do? I say animation. Then they'll be like, they give me that face. And most of the time, the follow-up to that, like, to help them understand it is to say something like, I make cartoons. Right, Disney. And they immediately go Disney. And they immediately go like,
But is it insulting if someone comes to you and says, oh, you do cartoons for a living? Is that insulting to an animator?
No.
It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know. At least for me, it doesn't like bug me that much.
But
okay,
then,
but I'm just saying now you can bring out your NDP video. Oh, this is what I do. This is what we do animators.
Yeah, I say it. At the start of it, I thought it was like a nice flex, right? And sometimes I say it, right? And people's faces go like, I'm sorry, I don't watch NDP.
Okay, but there'll be haters who like they don't watch everything.
Yeah. I thought it was like little flex,
so you used to have it like saved on your phone or something, is it?
No lah. Like, I was
Wallpaper,
like,
It's okay, Mark. It's okay, Mark. Yeah,
I don't.
Hey, you don't. No, but so you're saying your parents didn't know what you did. So when they saw the video, were they like, Mark, we finally understand?
I think they only started to see it, like, what it really means when what it really meant when the interviews, TV interviews and all that started going around and came on the newspaper. And she's like, hey, actually, finding pictures. Yeah, it makes sense now.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. And so that was like your foray into animation.
Yes.
What about you, Jun?
Sorry, man. This is the plot of like Everything Everywhere All at Once. You made it.
The donut, the bagel.
I haven't watched the movie yet.
Yeah.
But you've seen it, lah. It's right here.
The story. Sliding doors. Basically, the choices you make in life determine your path.
No spoilers, no spoilers, please.
No spoilers. But you won't watch, right?
I'll watch it at some point.
You're anti-Asian.
No. Like, what the fuck? I did not like Crazy Rich Asians, but there are a lot of other Asian shows I like. Okay, yeah. I'm not anti-Asian. Don't be scared. I'm not anti-Asian.
I'm like sitting further away from you.
Yeah, so like how did you get into acting?
I think I don't know. So I started in high school. Like 13 years old. My high school was lucky enough to do like musicals and co-curricular stuff. And I had great teachers who actually like committed to teaching singing and dance and stuff. So I joined the musicals at 13, and I don't know, I just found a lot of pleasure skipping class to rehearse, meeting all these people who are very talented and so happy to be there, skipping class, and making people laugh. It's a very powerful feeling when you're 13 years old and you can say something and like this whole hall is listening to you and having a good time. Yeah, I think that's when I go, actually the real reason I joined the musical is because my crush joined the musical, and then
be honest lah, Jun.
I gotta own up.
The real origin story. Like,
shout out to my crush. Thank you for my career.
What's the name?
That's the name. Like,
I'm not blasting her out.
It's okay. I mean, so many years already. Like,
does she know you had a crush on her?
Yes, she does, because I confessed to her after the show, and then she was like, no, thank you.
No, man. So there's no happy ending, like at the end of the show, everyone's so happy.
No,
then
absolutely not. Why do you think I'm still acting?
You're still waiting for the happy ending to happen after the show.
No, that's why I just asked you, did she know? You said, no, she does. So that means it's like an ongoing thing, is it?
Huh?
The crush.
It's still a crush.
It's still a crush.
No lah.
Ancient history.
But it's your first crush, you never fully get over your first crush. It forms a chasm in you that that forms the backbone of your.
That powers your acting.
Exactly, that's right.
You keep it there. You keep it there.
Jun tells her every year, I still have a crush on you.
Oh my god! Every chance for a podcast or article, you just have to slip it in, lah.
She still acts as well. Or she
No.
doesn't? Oh, okay. And so there's no chance of it like happening after a stage production. Okay.
So how many people from that stage production actually carried on in acting like up till now?
That's a good question. Actually, quite a few. There was my generation had a little bit of a boom. So it's quite funny because they let us skip class to go and rehearse, and then half my year, like 3 classes out of 4, I guess, would disappear completely.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So there's quite a few, and some of them have like studied in Australia, which is it's very interesting because my teacher here in Singapore moved to Australia to teach, and then they taught my friend. Yeah, the circles come back.
So this high school was in Singapore, where you started?
No.
Right?
I'm talking about LaSalle now.
Oh, LaSalle. Okay, got it.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
So when did you come to Singapore to study?
2007. I graduated 2017. So like
2000s.
A long time ago.
I see.
But what made you come to Singapore?
Because
Because
Singapore?
Singapore, the media arts, there's a lot of talent, but sometimes the talent doesn't get shown out there, and like it's still growing. So why would you want to come to Singapore to study acting?
I heard really good things about the program, and there were a lot of graduates who studied here and came back to Malaysia. And it ended up being, I think, my ideal program because Singapore is very close to Malaysia. So it's close not just literally but also culturally. And in that way, like I was exposed to both Western philosophies of acting and also Asian philosophies of acting.
And they're very different.
I would say so, yeah. Like the idea of our traditional art is there's a lot of total theater, which is like music and narration and acting. There's no separation between them, right? Whereas in like the Western canon, you have very strictly musicals. Like musicals have a form, that kind of thing.
I see.
So the boundaries are different. The rules are different. The approach is different also.
I see. So I mean, over the years, you have done like a bunch of different roles. I think even recently this year, like you had a play you were in a musical in Singapore that sold out, right? That got rave reviews.
Secondary musical. Yeah.
Secondary school. So like secondary school, a story set in secondary school. What do you recall? Like what you felt when we first approached you to play like a civet cat in an animated TV series about animals dealing with a zombie apocalypse?
I was really excited, man.
Civet cat, really.
Civet cat.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Hamill is one of my idols, right? Of like, because Mark Hamill is obviously Luke Skywalker, but with voice acting, he can transform into the Joker, and his Joker voice is crazy.
Oh, that's for the Batman animated TV series.
Yeah. So for me, I always love transformation on stage and in voice. So for me, like, you want me to play like some weird thing that's some mangy animal. Yes.
You're down for that shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're into horror stuff as well, like zombie stuff,
Yeah, my girlfriend got me into horror stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Found footage horror.
Oh.
True crime.
Also, your girlfriend's the one that got you into it.
Yeah, because I'm too scared to watch this stuff alone. And horror is great for couples, guys. Shout out to anyone looking for date ideas. When you watch horror, your heart beats faster, so it feels like love.
I see.
So that was like, so she convinced you to start watching horror stuff.
I think it was a fun idea. Like, let's watch horror. Let's watch this scary movie together. And he's like, yeah.
I see. And then after that, no turning back.
Yeah, I'll take credit for it. Yeah.
I'll take credit for it. Then like for Mark, did you always have like a predisposition for dark shit, like bloody, gory stuff?
No, yeah. I kind of I like comedies. Yeah, but like I'm recently like in this serial killer obsession phase. I mean, like, okay, I'm not the only one, but like, I'm crazy about like serial killers right now, and
Crazy about like true crime,
and
stories.
but like specifically like serial murderers,
Serial murderers.
like
Yeah,
Dahmer,
like
Dahmer, that kind of.
Dahmer,
Barry?
BTK, Barry.
Barry, the dark comedy series about the...
I don't know, I haven't
Like
seen that.
True crime,
Like true crime.
Oh, true crime.
Yeah, so like mine.
It's about an assassin.
I mean, so assassin kills people.
Okay, one is a job, one is a
Yeah.
hobby.
No, because Mark started off, I like comedy, and then suddenly now serial killers.
Yeah.
So I thought you were talking about comedy stories about serial killers.
No.
That's why Barry.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So there was a train of thought there.
No connection. Like the two genres do not meet anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think it was influenced by the work on Zombie Safari?
No, it started before that.
NDP lah, NDP. Influenced by your work on
definitely
NDP video.
Yeah.
So I mean, like when it comes to Zombie Safari, like we met you and Gerald from Finding Pictures
Yes.
way back when I think 2020 during COVID.
Oh my God, his story.
Yeah,
His story.
because you were also affected by the Hook liquidation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's how we bonded lah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hang on, what is the Hook liquidation?
So we made this TV show about the comedy of a guy who falls in love with a terrorist. You know, the one
Yeah.
back there. So we made it for this network called Hook. And yeah, so then they liquidated and kind of screwed us over. And also
It's a lot more
screwed over.
depressing. When I first heard Hook liquidation, it sounded like the three body problem. Like, what is this?
Three body problem.
Oh no.
Suddenly
Yeah.
all the hooks in the world liquidated.
Yeah, it's true crime. It's true crime.
True crime.
True crime.
Serial killer story also.
Serial
lah.
killer
Serial killer
story.
story. Kill a lot of dreams.
Yeah. So we met Gerald and Mark because all our dreams were crushed at the same time. Yeah. And through that
trauma
we bonded. Trauma bonded.
Trauma
Exactly.
bonded.
Trauma bonded.
Yeah.
Then we pitched for this idea in 2021.
2020?
Oh.
2020.
2021.
Yeah.
2021. And yeah, it started off just like, I think all four of us wanted to do something different, something dark, something comedic.
Yeah.
And yeah, we
Adult.
adult animated. Yeah.
Yep.
So basically like M18 lah.
Yep.
And we landed on this idea, and yeah, so now it has come out.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
But I mean,
Yeah.
I was just curious. Have you done anything this violent, this gruesome before in animation?
So the project that got canned after the Hook liquidation was adult horror. No, it wasn't horror. It's just a adult crime series. Yeah, where the world is like all objects, and it's called Laughter Is All We Got or something like that. I can't remember the title, but yeah, it was just full of like sex, violence, and vulgarities. And in fact, for the pilot script that we wrote, I've never written so many like F-bombs in my entire life ever.
oh, is it?
Like it was 190 for a 22-minute.
Wow.
Oh, really?
190 Fs. Fucks for like a 22-minute.
That's the language, right? But what does animation bring for, say, like a very gruesome horror thing? Like, what can animation do that a live action can't do?
I think like, with like live action, there's always that element of because you're looking at live, real people, you cannot distinguish what's
There's an element of reality.
yeah, the element of reality. And like if you go too far, in one direction, you get the whole like Tarantino criticism, and people start to discuss all those things like, are you obsessed about like violence? Is that, and like how Tarantino is so sick of responding to those questions. So you go into that entire realm. But then I think like with animation and recently, with OTT platformers and all that, content platforms, more adult animation is coming up. So I think it allows for violence and these more adult topics to be taken with a little bit more levity, I guess. So you treat it almost like, don't think too much about it. It's just like good comedy sometimes. I mean, of course, again, you can swing the other way and go like full on, I don't know what you want to be, right? Like, then you really step on some toes and really like ruffle some feathers. But I think otherwise, generally, animation offers that medium of like discussion where people don't really, lock into the wrong things.
I see.
Mm.
So just one thing. So adult animation, that is the term for it, right?
Yeah.
I always find it funny when I tell people like, okay, we're working on an adult animated
I think it's
series.
pornography.
Absolutely sounds like.
Yeah, because you say adult film, right?
Yeah.
An adult
Right.
animation.
Yeah.
It sounds like a porn animation, lah. Is there another term that is used?
No, I don't think so. Like adult theme. No, this sounds
Adult
wrong
theme?
also. Yeah, adult animation.
So you all would say adult animated series, lah.
I mean, especially in recent years, I think people have been more receptive of it, like
Yeah.
the BoJack Horsemans,
Yeah.
and things like that, where they understand the themes are adult, but not
So
necessarily.
adult themed animated series.
Yeah, but they say adult animation. Not everything has to do with sex. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just
Mind
saying,
out
okay,
the
Jun,
doctor.
you feel me, right? You feel me.
Yeah. I feel
don't succumb to the peer pressure. I see. So then, like, I mean, like, why would you say people should watch this show? Maybe from the animation perspective and then the acting perspective. Before we deep dive into how it came about.
I think people. Why I think people should watch this show.
Yeah.
I think it's nothing like that's been done in Singapore, at least. I think the bunch of us, we spend a damn long time trying to craft something really, really good. And I do think the end result is really good. I think it's got like good, funny humor. I think if you have nothing to do with your girlfriend and you want to feel fast heartbeats, you can try. It might improve your relationships. But I think on the whole, it's just I feel watching everything, in the edit suite and all that, it feels like it's a good show. It stands on its own and it's a fun watch. Yeah. Yeah.
But what was it for you that made you excited about it?
I think the thing. I mean, like the zombie format. It almost feels like it's been tried and tested too many times. But I think what we did was something that's still different. But I think more importantly, like what Mark said, like it hasn't really been done like this in Singapore. Because there is, I mean, there's a deep story. There's a big story around it, but there's also a shit ton of blood, lah. And like we don't hold back on the language. And it's just the ability to do stuff that. I think would be surprising for anyone who watches it and realizes that it was done in Singapore.
Yeah.
With MediaCorp.
Yeah. And I think the zoo also, because Singapore Zoo is like a big part of our tourism here, right?
Yeah.
So just turning that whole family fun, family friendly activity on its head, and then making it the site of very, very adult themes of power struggle, political struggle, and obviously zombie attacks and all. I thought that was quite interesting for Singaporeans to see, right?
Yeah.
But not just Singaporeans, anyone around the world, right?
Malaysians.
It feels cathartic, kind of in a sense, to like, to expose these kinds of structures, and then like have it all break down, and then you watch as the world's on fire, I suppose. It feels.
You're talking about Malaysian politics, or what?
Not at all.
It's like, boy, this is reality TV, lah, is it?
But it's removed enough that you can have fun and.
So from the acting point of view, like what I mean, because it took me a while to fall in love with the animated format, even as a consumer. But like for people who maybe even haven't tried animation before, like from the actor's perspective, why? The fact that you voice like 6 characters.
I mean, the thing is, like, you don't want people to know that you're voicing these characters, because I mean, in the sense that you're trying to voice different characters, you don't want them to know that it's the same person.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of great characters in this story. I mean, just the episode 1 that I watched before this, the relationship between Joe's character and my character, that connection in this context of everything is on fire, I think is really meaningful. And to hear these local voices as well, saying things that will surprise you.
Like, what was that one line that when you saw on screen you were talking about?
I
it?
can say one on YouTube.
Just say. Yeah. This is a line
I
for
like-
your character, lah.
Yeah, what? How does it go exactly? It goes, I gotta shit your mouth hole.
Shit in your mouth.
I gotta shit your mouth hole.
Yeah, shit in your mouth hole. Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But anything, just curious, like anything about, have you done like animation voice acting before? Or was this like a virgin experience or what?
Only in like small projects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's the
Any
biggest
way,
capacity.
but any difference in how you had to prepare for this as opposed to like your usual projects?
I want to say actually not much difference in the preparation.
Yeah.
It's more figuring out where this character comes from and how they're gonna sound. But also a lot of that was figured out in the room with you guys.
Oh yeah. And like did you have to like drink, like honey lemon tea or anything like that?
You drink one water, boy. You don't eat all the oily food so much. This one very heaty.
Yeah.
You don't eat so much dairy. That one will give you phlegm.
So you adhere to all that, lah.
I mean, he's a musical. He sings in musicals.
Oh, that's true,
so
lah.
he
You
has to
sing
take care of
also.
his voice a lot, right?
But Asian I can eat curry lah.
Can.
Yes.
There's a lot of screaming in the show.
Yeah, there is a lot of
There's
There's a
screaming.
lot of screaming in the show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, one thing about the show is that visually it looks like amazing, lah. So for animation, right? Because like just now you said we're talking about people just say, oh, you make cartoons, lah, right?
Yeah.
Cartoons is a whole range, but how does actually the whole animation process work? Because I mean, we worked with you, but even for me personally, I still like the whole how it gets from like script to an actual what you see on screen is like a Pandora's box, lah.
Okay, I give a very quick rundown.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have the tendency to go into like technicalities. So from the script, we will sit down the team and then we'll talk about how we convert it into storyboards, and a timed storyboard will be called an animatic. So there's this whole long process of like everybody discuss, like the director will say, okay, I want this shot, I want that shot.
So a storyboard is essentially like a frame
Yeah, a frame.
that has like
The action.
it's like a still frame, lah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like 20, the show is about like 20 minutes, 22, 21 minutes. 21 minute show will have about like 500-600 bots, somewhere around there. Then after that we go into animation breakdowns where we break down the whole action and everything. Then we kind of get like this very rough edit of the entire show for the director to kind of like watch and say, okay, to check for continuity, to check for like what props I need here, and how much more you can bump up the visual comedy.
And these are just still like sketches.
Sketches, yeah.
So that means it's black and white.
Black and white lines, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
black and white lines.
So the civet cat will be drawn almost like a rat, almost, yeah. And and here we put in all these gags, like if something that don't work, you get to workshop it at a very low risk.
Yeah.
Then once everything is kind of designed, when we have that animatic going, at the same time we will be designing the characters, the world building, the zoo. So the zoo is done entirely in 3D. So we really do have the entire zoo mapped out. I think 7 or 8 or 9 zones, if I remember correctly. Then you got to put in the props, blah 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 blah. Then we'll send it for production. So production basically just means that you're rigging up the characters with bones to move them. Then you find the backgrounds that you want with a 3D digital camera within the world.
Within the set.
Yeah, within the set.
So
and
you
just
literally are moving the camera.
the cameras, yeah.
Okay.
To find the angles that you want and everything. Then you do the animation with our production partner. Then we will do the compositing, which is like putting the 2D characters on top of the backgrounds.
Okay.
Then we do color correcting and then send it off to audio, the sound and the music, which is another stage in its own.
Yeah.
Another battle to fight on its own, because then before all these things are naturally, like we bring in Jun, Muna and all to do the voice recording. So for animation, a large part of it actually falls on the voices. Yeah, especially for a show like that. And I remember when we were doing the casting, and we had the characters and we were listening to the we had all the different casts come in, right?
Yeah.
And it's just very strange feeling when it's the right sound, the right voice, and I can't remember which line you read, and we were listening to it I was just playing it in the studio and everybody was listening. And at some point everybody just perked up and like, is that for Zombie Safari? Is that Musang? Like everybody recognizes at that moment that this is the character.
Yeah.
And we had like two other voices or something like
I
that.
think more than that. Yeah, there was some
More
we
than that,
didn't even go past the first round.
Yeah. So like, when you get the right voice, everybody just goes like, ooh, everybody just get it.
Jun, do you know that? You know that?
You were one in a million.
No, I'm very pleased to hear this.
Born to play a civet cat. But just going back to what you were saying earlier, right, about designing characters and all, because I think in the process of writing and all that, there was a lot of research that you guys, even at that stage, were already like, oh, how about this animal? Let's draw this, let's design this animal and things like that.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging character in terms of animating an animal and all that? Just to understand how what the challenges are in creating, like you said, putting bones onto a figure and
it looks 2D as well.
Yeah.
Well, so what animal is it?
The design sensibility basically was like we were trying to replicate this cutout stop motion look also. So the characters are designed with a lot of textures and the way they're designed is very edgy. It feels almost like you cut them out of paper.
Yeah.
But the challenge here is that, like, for example, like when you watch BoJack Horseman or Family Guy, you see Brian the dog is clearly a dog head with human body, right, proportions. Same for BoJack Horseman and all. But for Zombie Safari, the idea behind it is that we want the animals to be anatomically correct, just that they're standing on two legs. Yeah, so the flamingo in the show, we got to get the physics right with the feathers and how it moves with the wings. And I remember a very funny example is when we first started animating it, we kept looking at the flamingos and something is just off about the flamingos and we couldn't tell. And then we realized that we drew the flamingo legs the way the human legs bend. When birds bend backwards. Yeah. So we couldn't figure out why, and we were just like staring at it for a long time.
Something is wrong.
Something is wrong. Like something is wrong with this flamingo.
Then they're doing the can right there.
Yeah,
and then
they're
you're like,
doing
hey, something's wrong.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. If you've ever tried to draw like a dog, you think it's easy, but then you're like, what's wrong? Because there's so many details in the anatomy that you have to get right.
You know what's one of the most difficult things to draw from memory? A bicycle.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, try it when you have the time. Try drawing a bicycle, the frame and everything. It's just gonna look shit as weird, man.
Actually, speaking of drawing, I think as an animator, you are actually a very good artist with your hands also, right?
I don't know if I'm very good. I'm okay. Yeah.
I mean, like when in our office when we were talking about stuff, and you and Gerald be like, okay, I think this, and you all will just draw something. We're like, oh shit, you just drew that. You're like, yeah, it's just flex.
It's just like get the idea out.
Just get the idea out.
And then so that's the animal characters, right? But then you said the 3D environment. So you're basically creating a 3D environment that, like, even if you wanted to put a Call of Duty, overlay a Call of Duty game onto it, you could, right?
You could. Yeah.
That's the level to which you are creating the environment.
Explore this set.
You could, yeah. You can actually walk around the world.
And why did you do that? Because it sounds like there's why not just focus on the scenes and create those worlds? Like, what is the benefit of building the environment like that?
Okay, this is an interesting discussion. From the beginning, when we were still trying to figure out the style and all, I was discussing with Gerald, and Gerald was saying that, maybe we should do this, we should do that. And then one thing that Gerald, who is the other co-producer from Finding Pictures, he was saying we should make it as cinematic as possible. And I was like, oh man, it's going to be expensive, to do that. And he was like, no, you think about it, the merits of it, right? And that is actually the reason why we went with setting up a 3D world, because we wanted to have a camera that we can manipulate to find, we can play with the lens sizes, we can do with like a long lens, a wide lens, and
so it really feels like you're
so
filming
you really,
in a zoo.
yes,
Yeah.
So you really feel, and we're trying to get that cinematography down, and even it's not a standard 16:9 format. It's like slightly squished. So it's like, I don't know what you call it, like Panavision or whatever.
Anamorphic.
Anamorphic, yeah.
2.39 to 1.
2.35 to 1, yeah. So it's slightly squashed. And it really makes a difference, like when we watch it and it's like, oh, cool, especially on a large screen. Yeah.
So that means technically if you wanted to, do another season or even develop a game around it, you have that world.
Yes, we have a good starting point. Yes.
Do a VR version where you can pay money to go into the world and then hang out with the animals and all that in the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, you hear that, MediaCorp? Are you going to fund me?
Yeah. Why go to the Singapore Zoo? You can just go to a
zombie safari, man.
Zombie zoo, after dark.
Goodness.
After dark, exactly.
Ooh, horror. Ooh, horror zoo.
Yeah.
So it does sound like a lot of work, to create animation. Like, do you think that it's a common misconception that animation is like just drawing cartoons only, very, very easy? Do you get that a lot from people who maybe come from the live action side and all?
We do. Yeah. I think generally animation is almost seen as the back end service. Anything that cannot be done on the front end is fixed by us.
Yeah.
And so in some ways we're like further down the food chain. In a film pipeline. I don't know if that's
hierarchy.
Yeah. Further down the food chain, and
are you below or above writers?
Oh, that's another difficult question. Writers should be treated fairly.
Yeah.
But for sure, even for us doing live action, one of the big learnings for us in this process was that, like, live action, you write the script, then you rehearsal, workshop the actors and all. Then even on the day that you shoot itself, you can still be changing a lot of stuff on the fly, change script, even change actors and things like that. But for animation, it's like got to be locked from really early on.
Yeah.
And you just like, okay, voice actors, do this and do it in this style, or, do it within these parameters, but don't go out those parameters.
Yeah, but a lot of the best jokes were done during recording.
Just
like you just like improv, and we just like can the entire line, and you guys just go crazy.
So sometimes the character comes alive, right?
No, I think quite a lot of times the direction to you was, Jun, just say something, and then we just record you for like a minute, and then you just say the most random ass stuff. But it's great, it's great.
Yeah,
that's my job.
So how would you say, because you mentioned before that before this you did like not much voice acting, right? So just now you spoke about the prep for voice acting, but what about the actual voice recording itself? How would you say is different from like live action or even theater?
Firstly, the jumping into a moment, right, without the moment before. Like, you got to jump into whatever's happening right now, and you got to make sense of it, and you got to convey some kind of truth about that moment. Whereas in theater you have you can follow the journey, and you can build it up in that sense.
I see.
And also the stamina of recording for like 4 hours and doing funny voices.
Correct.
Yeah, but
how long are theater rehearsals?
Theater rehearsals?
Yeah.
What is this? Okay, the rough rule of thumb is like every 10 minutes on stage you rehearse like 2 hours, I suppose.
Wow.
But okay, theater rehearsals maybe 1 month, 2 months if you're lucky, like you have budget to really rehearse for 2 months, but usually around maybe 1.5 or shorter than that.
And the rehearsal days are long, right?
Full days.
Ideally, but if you're a full-time actor, then maybe like after work 7 to 10, sometimes 7 to 11.
Oh wait, you say full-time actors and you have
sorry. If you have a day job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then
you're a full-time employee somewhere else.
Yeah.
Got it. I see.
So then, like, what about the You know, like acting. What's your acting philosophy like? Because different actors got different ways of bringing the character to life.
Oh, that's a great question.
Method acting.
Yeah.
Method act. That's a civic,
You just
civic
crawl
cat.
out, onto the bus.
I like sniff around for trash. I come from a school, I think, of like my biggest influence, like Mr. Bean. A lot of manga that I read growing up, as Japanese comics, and like character actors like who like Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean. Who else?
So why would you call it a character actor?
Because they usually like try to transform, like they're playing a different person, or sometimes it's like a real person, as opposed to playing themselves.
Okay.
Like Brad Pitt is very personality. I suppose like himself is very interesting. So you
like whatever role he plays, that's
you want
Brad
him
Pitt.
for Brad Pitt,
or you want Brad
whereas
Pitt
Johnny
in
Depp
that
like
role.
transforms for each role.
Or like Tom Hardy also.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Tom
that.
Hardy.
Tom Hardy is a great one.
Okay. But those are not considered method actors per se.
No, like method is like if you are playing a homeless person, you really go be homeless for a month. Then you go why like be homeless.
Correct. So your school of thought is the character.
Yeah, because how am I going to be a civet cat?
You can't go. I mean, you go study civet cats,
but I cannot be a civet cat.
I mean, you can if you want to.
I'm not a powerful enough sorcerer to be a civet cat.
Because when we were doing the writing, we and the other writers all went down to the zoo. Terrence, myself, Mark, Gerald, Chongwa.
My research was watching civet cat videos.
Watching civet cat videos.
And the sounds also, right?
Yeah, and going like, how am I going to make that inhuman sound?
So what is it about civet cats that was unique that when you were doing your research that you wanted to bring to the forefront?
Their personality, really just their charisma, I think.
Yeah.
And what would you say your relationship with civet cats are like?
I'm a city boy, so zero. That's the relationship.
I think last time my parents' place, they accidentally caught a civet cat in what was meant to be, I think, a rat trap. So it was really like quite a sizable civet cat just caught inside a very, very small cage because it thought that there was food inside, obviously. And I think what struck me was like, it was the eyes, when they are so like almost like begging for their lives with their eyes, super expressive. It's almost like you feel bad for it, like you want to go and cuddle it and all that. But at the same time, I'm just understanding where they come from and that they can also be quite violent. I think it's kind of evolution gave them both those very cute but also very survival instincts.
You can climb walls. And you're small, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, there is a scene where there's a civet cat in a cage in the show.
Correct.
So
also looking very pitiful, right?
Yeah, so that inspiration from at your parents' house.
That's when he did the baby voice.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That's when he did the baby voice. Right.
Yeah.
This baby voice.
Jun Vin's baby voice was surprisingly good. Like it really sounded like a baby.
Yeah.
Thank you very
much. A bit
much.
questionable why
because I'm actually a baby.
I see. So then like after doing the recording, at what point did you feel like you understood the character? Like, do you feel like it was natural already?
That's a great question. I think it really probably like partway through, like to the end of the first recording session, maybe.
Oh, so within the first recording session already?
Yeah. It was that. It's the coming alive through in the scene, literally, like as I'm role playing this civet cat. Like, I get more into their perspective, how they see the world, how they express themselves.
Oh, I see. Then on the animation side, like what was the evolution from like the black and white animatics to when you felt like, oh, okay, this actually is coming together?
Animation is very painful. Like you always wait until the end when everything is put together. Then you start to like feel like you start to get a good sense of whether it's working or not. And sometimes it's really scary because like for 90% of the time during production, you're just working off delusions, like you have to convince yourself that it's going to work. Yeah. It's going to work. Then finally when they send in, I think, 200 over shots, 300 shots, and you start to put them together, and the director and the editor puts them together, and you look at it, and within 20 minutes of watching the first pass, you got to make that decision of whether, like, you know, what's wrong or what's correct, because like your first impressions are always the most honest ones. Yeah, and when we were watching it the first time round for the first episode that came out, the first pass that we saw it, that was when I was like, okay, I think we have a show here. Yeah. But then it's not too long ago that we've been working on this for what, almost 3 years, 2.5, almost 3 years now. But for a large part of that time, we didn't really know what it was going to be. In terms of like, we knew what the show was going to be, the production, everything, the style and all that. But in terms of like, do we got it, you know? Do we have it? Yeah. It's only very recently when I say recent, but it's probably at the start of the year, like January, December last year, when the shots came in and we were looking at it and, oh my God, here we go, you know?
So you say the shots came in means that they are colored, like they are put together by your production partner. Yeah.
And even then when we were watching it, it was not color graded. There was no effects or anything.
Sound also no.
There are no sounds, no sounds, and the sound effects and sound design was not mixed also. So a lot of the things that you got to imagine them being there. You got to imagine people screaming in the background. You got to imagine that there's smoke here, the world is on fire, this and that. And there was like, you know, Jared and myself and some of the directors for the other episodes will be watching it and just going like, something's off here, you know.
It's like staring to a creative abyss.
You
don't really know what you're getting into.
Collectively imagining.
Collectively imagining. And you have to caveat like what's okay, just FYI guys, we're gonna have this here. It's like right, okay. So gotta give the person a pass, you know. And
I think for us as at least for me in the process, I think when you came and showed us there was one clip of the civet cat getting hiding under a fast food takeout box and creeping around the zoo, and then finally finding a chicken drumstick. I think that moment was like, oh, okay. We start to see everything that we had been talking about and pitching and writing about starting to come together, and understanding the whole concept of like 2D in the 3D world, and also like a bit dirty, grimy, adult kind of look to things. A bit more edgy than what you think of an animation, like Pixar animation, for example. So even at that point already, I think just one scene, you know, kind of like, it kind of opened our eyes as like the writers and all that. They understand, what this is the world that we're creating. How about you? When did it hit you?
I think when I saw the first still visuals of the world building. So even before animation, I was like, oh shit, this world looks pretty cool. And especially the transition between pre-zombie apocalypse, post-zombie apocalypse. Then when I saw the moving images, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then when we got the cast in, and like you guys were like just great, and that's when felt like the characters also came alive. So, but like throughout the process, anything that for either of you surprised you about the whole project, or like the research you found, or
surprised you even compared to other animation projects that you've done, right?
How many efforts?
Do you have a count? No.
I didn't count.
I'm sure you can use some AI to help you count now. AI bot.
You said that. What do you say? Is like that you don't hold back, but I think actually you held back a lot of the swearing. It's like it's just enough.
Just enough.
You really went for it with the license to do an adult animation.
But like at some point of the writing, you know, like it became quite clear that only Musang can
swear.
The civet cat character.
Only the civet cat character can swear. And I mean, we did try to write some lines, some F-bombs for other characters. It just didn't sit well. And we just like pulled it all out.
So you got the luxury.
He got the F-bomb privilege.
I'm on F-bomb privilege,
Yeah. You can tell your parents, I got the record.
This is up to you, Mom.
But is this the first show you've done that where the lines had like F-bombs?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, really?
When else do you get the chance to do something like this?
Oh, wow. Another first.
Yeah. It's really a first.
Oh, that's cool.
But it made you feel very badass at the end of each recording. Instead of the F-bombs.
You walk down with swagger and all.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'm a gangster.
I'm a rodent, but I'm a gangster. Yeah.
But that's the fun part, right? You talked about playing the civet cat, which is like has all these cute baby sounds and all, but at the same time you're also dropping the most F-bombs of all the characters out there.
Yeah.
That's the the two sides of what you're playing, right?
Yeah, it's very short guy syndrome.
Short guys.
like small dog syndrome, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The
And then there's
Don't mess with me.
I mean, this is not a spoiler, but there is a scene of your character, like spending time alone in a room.
Yeah. Actually, that was what's surprising, was like recording a lot of the lines solo with you guys, but not with other characters.
Oh,
All right.
And then when I watch it, it's seamless. It looks like we're having a conversation.
yeah. Oh yeah. So for those listening, like we recorded almost all the scenes with the characters individually, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like in our experience recording with more than one person in a room, then it always helps if you have separate rooms or like something in the middle to block it out. Otherwise, they'll be like you'll feed into each other's mics, lah. So we did everything individually, lah.
And schedule-wise as well,
Schedule-wise
it makes
also.
it easier.
Props to you guys for making it all cohesive. Because I think the tone really came out really nice. It's balancing this fine line between comedy and horror, and like adult and like levity in darkness. And it all comes together.
Wow, levity in darkness.
I mean, it's good lah. We can pat each other on the back and say good job.
Good job.
But what if there's like Singaporeans or Malaysians who come and say, this one, another local television project, I'm sure it's not as exciting, surely censored. How to compare to Netflix, everything? What will you say to them, lah?
I don't know how to talk to these people, man. I mean, it's a local production. It's really different from, like Mark said, I don't think something like this has been done before. Which, on its own merit is like, okay lah, so you do something that's never been done before, so what? Right? But I think it's fun. And it's bold and brave and doesn't hold back. So it's not like, it's not being safe in that sense. Where you're like, oh, this is nothing. It says something. It brings you along on something. Whether you like it, that's up to you, I think.
I see.
But Mark, like, what will you say to these like cynical Singaporeans who like, who watches local TV, that kind of thing?
I think don't watch it just because we say that it's never been done before. But watch it because like I really do think it's good fun, and the show goes in directions where even sometimes like us as writers, we don't even when we first started planning for the story, we didn't even expect it to go in that direction, and it goes in all these different worlds and it really explores the life of society. Actually, it's quite a pretty much like this parable for the animals getting locked in a zoo.
Got election also.
Yeah, got election also.
Got election.
So like it's a nice human story played out by animals.
Oh yeah, it like I mean now it's also the time of like the election year around the world. So many elections.
Yeah.
Oh, there's elections as well. But like through the animation process, anything that surprised you, or even the research, like you mentioned that flamenco story, anything about building a zoo that like you never
knew about zoos, right, for example.
Okay, so I'm an animal buff, right?
Okay,
You've
so
always
serial
been.
killer.
I've always been an animal buff.
Serial killer
Like,
animals,
I read up a lot about animals.
Okay.
And one thing that really triggered me in the process was when we were designing the characters, right? And I have all these little nuggets of information that I cannot say because I don't want to look like that.
Did
you know? Did you know?
Like what?
Like, I don't know. Right now, like if you ask me, I can't really say like when they first designed the flamingos, they designed it slightly off. They designed it like a normal bird's beak, right? Where the top beak is longer than the bottom beak, right? A flamingo's top beak is much smaller than the bottom beak because they have filter feeders and all that. So I was looking at that, I'm like pitching, I'm like shaking,
Blasphemy.
and I cannot say anything.
Why you cannot say anything?
No, because like I don't want
to
to be that guy. I don't want to jump in first, like before I look at the entire thing and say that, maybe we should do this and that. And there are like some other little things here and there, like we were designing. There were some otters and the thing, right? And we were designing it to a very specific species of otters. And then the designers picked another species, and I was like, oh man, like.
Oof.
Clearly
But then
wrong. How did it resolve itself?
No, so eventually you have to kind of like eventually we did up like this whole deck with all the species, and it was like specific down to like what is the it's a Asian small clawed otter, it's a Javan rhino, it's a black buck. It's really down to the species. I mean, we didn't go into like scientific names lah. It's short of that, but. I think that also kind of helped the design process because the designers know what to look out for also. And like the flamingo legs being drawn backwards, that was like a trigger for me also. Like I saw it.
But you said you didn't know at first, right?
Yeah, but it's just like something's off.
But were you the one saying,
I was the one who got it.
Yeah, everyone was like, hey Mark, just shut up. It's fine.
This is the fifth time.
Because of you and flamingo knees.
But guys,
So how about I know, because I think even in the writing process, there were a lot of discussions about the making of a zoo as well, right? So we tried to imagine what a zoo, if you left the zoo alone, like you didn't bother with the upkeep, like what it would look like in like a month's time. Anything about the architecture of a zoo or design of a zoo that also was very interesting.
We designed it. So the zoo is supposed to be like this world that is created. And I think even until today, many zoos in the world, started in their early years as private menageries, right? Like private collection. Then finally the guy dies and donates it to public institutions or whatever, and it grows into a zoo. So we started off with the idea of how the zoo is like made for humans. So the design concept behind it is actually a Disneyland. How there's like the what they call that, the main street.
Oh, the main street.
Street into this plaza area that branches out into all these smaller zones, and even the zones themselves are designed to almost be like this experience where it's not so much about the animals; it's more for the spectacle. Like the lion enclosure has this massive sphinx sculpture and all that. So it's really designed for people, and I think also looking at how Singapore Zoo, we were there, it was like designed brilliantly. We were taking all these references, but eventually how do we co-opt all these design principles behind the Singapore Zoo? We went to we didn't go to Bird Park, but like looking at all these Singapore zoo reserves, right? And how do we convert it into a theme park almost? That was one very, very fun aspect of the design process. It took very long because like got to figure out logic and all that. Where does this character go from here, and how does it link to the next enclosure, the next enclosure, next enclosure?
And episode 1 features a lot of the, like what you said, the plaza and how the animals interact with the space, right? I mean, no spoilers, but it's very, very exciting scenes that happen in episode 1, right?
Let's go to the plaza. Do you spoil the whole thing for me? I love plaza.
I think during writing also, like there's something that we were trying to say also about zoos and animals in captivity. But during writing, I remember there were a lot of fun facts that we came across, like just understanding that the elephant gestation period can go up to 18 months or 24 months.
Right?
2 years. 2 years, no, pregnant. Then another thing was, I think there's when we were like studying like night zoos, those night zoos.
What do they call those?
Nocturnal zoos or something?
Nocturamas.
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 Basically, did you know that nocturamas, because most of the people come during the day, and these are nocturnal animals that they want to replicate, like you see them alive when they come at night, right? So because a lot of the people go to these nocturamas during the day, they have to fuck up the sleep cycle of these animals.
Whoa.
So they get them to sleep during the
night,
the human night, like outside night, so that they can be awake when the human visitors come to the zoo.
Do you control the light?
Yeah, they control the light.
It's enclosed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all the Dr. Ramas around the world, that's why they aren't that many. Because you literally are flipping their sleep cycle.
But that's why
Yeah.
something like the Singapore, the night safari is really quite something. Because if you visit the night safari now, it feels like they call it safari because it feels very open, right?
Yeah.
But they actually had to design a lot of like moats and little barriers that are invisible in the night, so that when a visitor goes through, they feel like, oh, it's so open, but actually there's natural like barriers that the animals can't run out and jump you. So I was like, wow, there's a lot of that goes into the design of a zoo that, as a visitor, you don't realize.
Yeah.
But then when you're designing the zoo for the show, you're like, hey, how the hell do they bring the lion from here to there for it to be safe?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think one thing like we tried our best to do, which I think still stands, the way like you always see a show about how they kind of attempt to take down the zombies or something, right? I think like it's still quite novel.
Yeah.
And we use a lot of the
spoilers.
zoo.
Yeah.
We use a lot of the zoo's infrastructure for
no
that.
spoilers.
Right?
I don't know if you remember June. Okay, good. Yeah, you don't.
I want to watch.
No spoilers for him.
No spoilers. No
Spoiler
spoilers.
Plaza.
But yeah, I mean, 6 episodes that are out. You can catch it at the link in the description. I mean, it's on MeWatch and YouTube, so it's going to be there for you to watch anytime you want.
Wow, best.
Best. So I mean, like before we move on to the final segment, the one Shiok thing. Any other thing you want to say to potential listeners? Maybe for someone to watch the show to understand what goes on behind the scenes that you think it's important people know. Because like before I got into like this whole industry, I thought, you see a film also like, okay lah, like how difficult is acting and all, but it's fucking difficult lah. Anything that you would like people to know
Oh, jeez.
about
Do
acting?
I start first?
Yeah, please.
I think the big shout out to the entire cast. I think your character also, right? Like Harish is one of the character, and Terrence voiced over also. I think the cast really did amazingly to bring the world together. The team that animated it, the Finding Pictures team, the days of uncertainty, bringing it out, like really putting the faith in this project and trusting the script and trusting the visuals to work, and just I think it's now looking at it come together, it feels like very worthwhile. Yeah,
It's
so I
3
think
years, like 3 years,
man,
since
it's
we
long,
first
yeah.
put together the pitch.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
3 years.
We've had so many people come and leave the studio.
Babies being born.
Yeah, babies being born. Yes, two.
Two.
Yeah. No, one.
No, technically,
Oh, yeah,
Mikey also will
yours-
come
yeah,
before the
yours
show
will
goes
come,
live.
yeah.
Oh shit!
Right.
Yeah. And for you, Jun?
I don't know, man. There's a lot you can say about, how art is collaborative and there's so many things that go into it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's all invisible and you just enjoy it. I don't know.
That sounded like a ChatGPT answer.
Borem ipsum,
I mean,
dolor sit amen.
but it does reflect even the voiceover is one part of the process.
Yeah,
right?
it's just like one.
Yeah, and very early on. So in some ways, you're also viewing it with fresh eyes also as an audience member. So it will be quite exciting for you to watch it and to see how your own character develops. Compared to acting, even though you don't film in sequence, but you generally know what scenes happen, right? In live action,
You know how you look,
know how it look, you know what happened, all that,
yeah.
But this one, you are literally just voicing. You don't know how it looks and all that.
Yeah,
also,
absolutely.
Suddenly we change the story and like use your words like in different ways, You
get fully converted by improv into singing.
We
a
said
song.
Oh yeah,
That's kudos to our sound designer.
It was not AI. It was not AI.
Yeah, it was not AI. It was not AI.
Human power.
Yeah, it's all a lot of human powered work in the show.
Tune and just sweat.
And sweat. But yeah,
Cool.
Cool. So I mean, we have the one final section that we go through on every podcast. It is the one Shiok thing. Is there? You guys, we'll give you a few more minutes to think. Terrence and I can go first.
Sure.
What is your one Shiok thing, man?
There's an upcoming movie called Deadpool and Wolverine coming out, right? That means the third Deadpool movie. And features Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine.
You see already? Tell me.
Trailer.
I mean, the trailer's out. It's coming out soon. But this was quite a cool thing that was announced recently. Xbox, the game console.
Yeah.
They're creating a limited edition Deadpool Xbox controller.
Right.
that the texture of the controller is entirely like Deadpool's costume,
Oh,
right?
I thought you were going to say Deadpool's skin.
Better than that. You turn the controller around, it has Deadpool's ass, the shape of the ass behind it.
Oh,
So it's an Xbox controller with an ass, and then when you hold it, your fingers will be at the ass of the controller.
What is happening? Okay, first is the Dune 2 popcorn bucket.
What's it?
The Dune 2 popcorn bucket with a worm. The
Oh, the
sandworm
worm,
is a
yeah.
popcorn bucket,
Oh, okay.
which is, the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But
But
genius,
this is not nightmares, this is nice. You get
This is my
touch
question
I
Deadpool's
mean,
ass.
do you
Can
like
you-
Deadpool's ass, I guess?
Can you pry the butt open?
No, it's,
Yeah, okay, thank you.
it's a working
That's the
controller. So
Right,
I think
right.
there are batteries and all that. So there's a Deadpool version and there's a Wolverine version as well with Wolverine's
With
ass.
Hugh Jackman.
But is it meant to be like silicone kind of?
No, it's a controller. It's a working Xbox.
so it's a
controller.
plastic. It
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
plasticky, lah.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
It's not. They try to replicate the skin
No,
feel.
but the idea is just that when you're playing, your hands will just be on the butt cheeks. Like that.
Oh, that is genius, man.
It's funny, right? Yeah.
Yeah, genius. Cool. My one Shiok thing was I mean this didn't happen like recently or something. It happened a couple of months ago, and it was just this series of photos that were taken of the Singapore MRT stations by a photographer, Rubina Gun, that went viral before, but I just chanced upon it. And yeah, I mean the photos she takes of like Stadium, Tuas Link, Gardens by the Bay, all make the stations look like super epic. Yeah,
Get
have you-
the photos.
yeah, you can just scroll and see. We'll put the link in the show notes so people can see. And it looks like one of those like, oh shit.
But
this
epic
is-
in what
wow.
way? Like,
it looks like it's architecturally stunning. Like the
I see, I
angle
see.
she took, I didn't even know, because MRTs, you go down, you just look at the stairs and all.
Mm.
But the way she took the photos, the angle, Rubina Gun, I think it's a her. But the way Rubina took the photos, it makes it look like, whew,
What is this?
I see.
epic lah,
And
epic.
it's a project, lah. It's a project that she's doing.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just
Okay.
chanced upon.
Wow.
I think it went viral on online, but yeah, it looks epic.
I've never
okay.
seen Toa Payoh MRT that way before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah,
This is the power of framing, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Power of framing. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
It's true. Yeah.
Gun.
Speaking as a Malaysian,
Yeah.
the Singaporean MRTs like make an effort to have personality. Like each
Oh.
station is different, even though it's standardized in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now over to
Yeah.
you guys.
Maybe Mark, what's your
try
one
go
shot
first.
thing?
Sure.
I was on IG last night and I saw a video.
Mm.
It was of Marco Pierre White, the chef, and he was talking about preparing this this steak meal called steak a la Lyonnaise.
Mm.
And in the entire video, he talks about, like, he prepares everything, and then he says, you put the steak on the grill, on the pan, and when the blood pierces through the skin, that's when you know it's done perfectly at medium rare. If you want it to be medium, leave it there for a little bit longer. If you want it to be well, leave it there for even longer. And he talks about, like, how the meat is even for well done piece of steak, it has to be pink on the inside, because when it's gray, it's dry. So he says when he was younger in his cooking days and as a learning apprentice, right, they used to prepare the blue steak, and just by putting it on top of the I don't know what to call that, the hob, the
Oh, the
hood,
hob, yeah,
the
the
hood,
hob.
yeah, just by putting it on top of the hood, just to let the residual heat just like sear it a little
What's
bit.
a blue steak?
So like
Super rare.
super rare,
Okay.
Oh,
super rare steak.
okay.
And then he delivered this quote, which I thought is like so elegantly done. He said, "A blue steak is a steak that took a walk through a warm room."
Oh.
Yeah, and I
So-
was like,
Are you like a foodie, or like you like cooking, or
okay, so I'm a food buff, right?
you're a food buff? Okay,
Food
okay.
buff,
Yeah.
animal buff, serial killer buff.
No. I just thought that like that quote is like,
Very artistic.
Yeah, so
I
like
see.
Oh, I see. And who's like the chef is famous for what?
for being the Gordon Ramsay's, what was that? Yeah, one of Gordon Ramsay's mentor.
Oh,
Apparently,
I
the
see.
guy that made Gordon Ramsay cry or something like that.
oh.
Hey, Marco Pierre White, because he used to be like he made Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Because he invented like the reality chef
Yeah.
personality.
Yep.
But now in his old age, he's a lot more like mellow and
Mellow,
like don't care. Like okay, before it's like you must julienne very thinly. Now it's like okay, whatever lah. You're cooking at home, just do it.
Yeah, and he does like all these cooking YouTube videos for Knorr, like the
Knorr.
seasoning.
Okay.
And people give him shit for it, but he's like, do you really want to cook like, and in his response is like, do you really want to cook like a restaurant chef? Because if you want to, I can teach you how to do that, but do you realistically want to do that at home?
Yeah.
So shut the hell up and just cook with Knorr. It's like, I thought it was like so badass, yeah.
Oh shit, that's cool. Huh?
Interesting.
Yep.
This is on his own Instagram, is it?
No, I saw it in one of those like aggregation pages. Yeah.
He does a lot of like cooking videos just on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
Random
he does.
people.
Yeah, for random people. Yeah.
All right, and that leaves us with Jun.
Yes,
boy,
Take us
here we
home,
go.
man.
Jun.
Yeah.
Let's get nerdy, baby. So by something short is an old manga that's been made into an animation, I think in 2005. It's called Mushishi. It's about this traveling shaman during like pre-industrial Japan. So like still, people have to walk between towns through the mountains. And it's about this traveling shaman. It's very episodic, just like episode by episode, where he goes to different places and he helps them with their ailments, their problems. And usually it's like spirit related, but not in the very black and white, spirits are evil sense, but in the sense that spirits exist all around us in nature. They are very much part of the world. And then, something happens when humans and the spirits interact, and then he helps resolve that. So it's quite wholesome. It's quite...
Is it anime?
Yeah, it's made into
produced
animation.
in 2005?
I think so.
Okay.
Mushishi.
Where will you watch it? Like on Netflix or
I
whatever,
have no idea, man.
Or Sailing the Seven Seas?
Yeah.
You're trying to get him to give like one of those.
No, because you got
However you may. Yeah.
You
I mean,
gotta
hey,
link
it's an old obscure manga animation. You can find it.
okay.
Maybe even on YouTube, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, but cool, man.
But yeah, thanks for taking the time to come down and talk about Zombie Safari.
Thanks for having us.
Sorry, and like to everyone listening, remember the link to watch the show. All our One Shiok Things are in the show notes. And yeah, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you all soon.